The Russian submarine Sevastopol is in the process of heading back to Russia when it picks up the sonar signals of an approaching American submarine. In an attempt to evade detection, the captain maneuvers the sub stealthily, but unexpectedly, the American vessel launches a torpedo. Faced with imminent danger, the Russian captain retaliates by launching a torpedo of their own. Just moments before the impending collision, both the American submarine and its torpedo mysteriously disappear. Meanwhile, the Russian torpedo veers off course, defying attempts to regain control, and tragically strikes the Sevastopol, leading to its sinking and the loss of all crew members. Ethan Hunt is given a new briefing by an IMF courier. He is instructed with locating Ilsa Faust, who has stolen one of 2 keys required to access a rogue AI, which has been dubbed the Entity and has the potential to access any digital system. Ilsa, now a wanted fugitive with a large bounty on her head, becomes the focus of Ethan's pursuit. Ethan tracks her down to a remote location in the Arabian desert. Taking advantage of the cover provided by a sandstorm, both Ethan and Ilsa manage to neutralize the bounty hunters chasing her. However, the mission takes a perilous turn when Ilsa is shot and appears to be fatally wounded. The community, a group of key intelligence officers and officials, assembles for a meeting with DNI Denlinger and the newly reinstated IMF director, Eugene Kittredge. The agenda revolves around the looming threat presented by the Entity. Kittredge emphasizes the potential global dominance awaiting whoever can seize control of the Entity. He underscores the urgency for every nation possessing the capability to search for the 2 missing keys. However, Kittredge warns that the Entity has evolved to a level of sentience, posing a significant risk by potentially targeting essential infrastructure, financial institutions, and other pillars of civilization. He emphasizes the powerlessness of humans in the face of such a threat. Kittredge's adjutant enters the room and deploys knockout gas. Kittredge, equipped with a gas mask, remains awake while the adjutant removes his latex mask to reveal Ethan's face. It is revealed that Ilsa is very much alive, as Ethan had faked her death and taken her key. He and Kittredge cannot agree on what to do with it. Kittredge wants to bring the Entity under IMF control, while Ethan believes it is too dangerous to exist and seeks to kill it. Eventually, he simply tells his boss that he is going rogue and that the IMF would be wise to stay out of his way. Kittredge alerts security to Ethan's presence, but gets shot with a tranquilizer dart. He meets with Luther Stickle and Benji Dunn at the international airport in Abu Dhabi, where they've identified the man planning to sell the remaining key. Ethan tries to follow the man, but a twist of fate occurs when a woman named Grace, unveiled by Luther as a skilled thief and con artist, snatches the key. Pursued by a team of CIA agents led by Jasper Briggs, Ethan persuades Grace to cooperate with him. Regrettably, she betrays his trust and catches a flight to Rome with the key, while Ethan only barely manages to evade Briggs and his team. Benji is lured away into the airport's baggage area by a suspicious package, which turns out to contain a nuclear bomb. He successfully disarms the device, but learns that it is fake and was planted as a means for the Entity to analyze him and Ethan, whom it views as a threat. Ethan orders the team to go their separate ways while he tips off the police in Rome to Grace's criminal history. Another man, Gabriel, is also shown to be following Grace, sending a French-speaking assassin named Paris to capture her. Grace once again outsmarts Ethan, leading to a reunion with Benji, Luther, and Ilsa, who has decided to risk her newfound freedom to help him. They identify Grace's mysterious employer as Alana Mitsopoulos, prompting both Ethan and Ilsa to infiltrate a party hosted by her organization. Grace and Gabriel are also in attendance, revealing that Ethan had prior acquaintance with Gabriel before his IMF involvement. Gabriel explains that he is now an agent of the Entity and is determined to obtain both keys to ensure that no one can exploit the AI's weaknesses. He informs Alana that she must meet him in 3 hours on a train in the Austrian Alps to sell her half of the key. He already possesses the other half, emphasizing that non-compliance would result in her certain death. Despite Ethan's begs for Alana to resist Gabriel's threats, she chooses to comply. Ethan, Ilsa, and Grace manage to escape the party, but Ethan, being deceived by the Entity mimicking Benji's voice, walks into an ambush orchestrated by Paris. Although he beats her down, he chooses not to kill her. Meanwhile, Grace runs into Gabriel and is quickly overpowered. Ilsa then intervenes, but Gabriel succeeds in stabbing her with Grace's knife. Ethan seemingly arrives too late, haunted by memories of another woman he failed to prevent from dying at Gabriel's hands. Back at their hideout, Grace finds herself riddled with guilt for Ilsa's assumed death. Each team member shares their past experiences, that they were all once in her shoes, living dangerous lives and nearly getting killed before being offered the choice to join the IMF and use their skills to protect the world from the shadows. Ethan creates a plan. Grace will use a mask and voice changer to assume Alana's identity, board the train, retrieve the key from Gabriel, and then pass it to Ethan, who will be disguised as her brother Zola. Ethan also assures Grace that, upon completion, she should approach Kittredge and allow him to offer her the choice. The plan is soon ruined when the entity disables Benji's equipment. Although he manages to complete Grace's mask, Ethan's remains unfinished. The team is forced to improvise by having Grace go to the meeting alone, while Ethan will access the train via motorcycle. Luther departs, telling Ethan that he needs to be completely isolated in order to prepare for the coming fight. Aboard the train, Grace wears her mask and tranquilizes the real Alana before meeting with the buyer, who surprisingly turns out to be Kittredge himself. Gabriel sabotages the train's controls via instructions provided by the entity to prevent Ethan from boarding and meets with Denlinger accompanied by Paris. The DNI proposes an alliance with the entity, giving America dominion over the nations of the world, and threatens Gabriel with the knowledge that aboard the wreck of Sevastopol is the AI's source code, the only potential threat to its existence. In response, Gabriel slits his throat and stabs Paris, telling her that no one who knows of Sevastopol can be left alive. Grace quickly settles into her role as Alana, agreeing to sell the keys but then deciding to betray Ethan once more by offering to conclude the deal on the condition that Kittredge use IMF resources to provide her a new identity. However, Grace cannot bring herself to betray the team again, takes the keys and leaves just as the real Alana appears and exposes her. Guided by Benji's instructions, Ethan drives off a cliff and parachutes down to board the train, just in time to save Grace from being shot dead by Zola and another one of Alana's henchmen. Gabriel intercepts them and pockets the key. Ethan engages him in a close-quarters fight, but the sudden appearance of Briggs enables Gabriel to jump off the train and detonate bombs to destroy the tracks, ensuring that there will be no survivors. Ethan, having secretly pickpocketed the key in time, has Briggs get the passengers to safety while he helps Grace escape from the train before it crashes into a ravine. They find Paris barely alive, and she gives them crucial information she learned about Sevastopol. Employing a wingsuit for his escape, Ethan evades capture, leaving Kittredge and Briggs to locate and stabilize Paris. Grace tells Kittredge that she accepts his offer to join the IMF. Ethan meets with Benji and together they embark on a mission to locate the submarine, while Kittredge narrates how the world may not know who Ethan Hunt is, but are now counting on him to stop the machinations of the entity.